Hello, everybody. My name is Graham Elwood, and you are watching The Political Vigilante. Truth rising up, making Gotham great again, ladies and gentlemen. We're still demonetized by the good people at CIA Tube, and we're getting support by many, many people. One of the ways you can support the show is go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood, where Chim Churi submitted this article. There has been a plethora of strikes happening, many of them healthcare workers. And most recently, Massachusetts nurses reject an offer from Tenet Healthcare as U.S. strike movement grows. And this is a great article in the World Socialist Web Site, WSWS.org. There's their website right there. And they do good stuff. And sometimes the World Socialist website has gotten critiqued. Oh, they're anti-union. They're not anti-union at all. They're just very critical of unions that have gotten corrupted. Now, unions are not perfect. They are corruptible. They can be infiltrated. The leadership can do crazy things, but they're still good. Ultimately, they're the last hope we have against the ruling elites. And throughout history, unions, the reason we have a 40-hour work week is because of unions. The reason we have sick days and paid leave and weekends off and child labor laws is all because of unions. And it's a lot of hard work that people did. Some people gave their lives over 100 years ago. So it's important to know that. I like what the World Socialist website puts out. I've read a lot of their articles. I've covered them on this show. So if there's some things you might not agree with, it doesn't mean throw them out. I really lost faith in the DSA. I think there's people within the DSA. The DSA membership, by and large, probably has the right idea and has the right intention. But I've seen some leadership within the DSA, most notably how they bailed during Force the Vote and decided to go critical of Jimmy Dore. What a bunch of punks. So DSA canceled my membership. You're punks. Because the leadership ultimately still wants to kowtow to the Democratic Party. That's what the DSA leadership seems to want. World Socialist website, I don't see that. So this is a good story. But this article, and thank you, Chim Churi, for submitting this, goes into detail about all the movements that have been happening. And we're going to talk about this because I've said this a lot in the last year. You know, billionaires have had record profits, but frontline and essential workers have been like, literally, they didn't get to work. You know, healthcare workers couldn't work. You know, frontline healthcare workers couldn't work via Zoom. You know, grocery store delivery people couldn't Zoom in a truckload of stuff. And so the fact that billionaires have made record profits and then they're trying to cut these people's wages or not meet their demands is really ridiculous. So we're going to go into how ridiculous it is. The nurses walked out over unsafe staffing levels, demanding a 1-to-4 nurse-patient ratio on medical surgical floors and telemetry units, as well as increased staffing in the emergency department and ancillary support in each unit. That's the other thing too. One of the things, and I'm going to show it a little later on in the segment, but like New York, I talked about New York a lot. When it got hit the hardest a year ago, when the pandemic first hit the States, it really hit New York City the hardest. One of the things that made it worse was all of the hospital cuts and nurses benefit cut and all that stuff that Cuomo did. Remember everyone a year ago, he's a hero. Oh no, it sounds like he's some kind of sex creep, on top of the fact that he's just in bed with the healthcare lobby and the for-profit healthcare, right? New York's a mess, not just because of the pandemic. It was made worse because of Cuomo, right? Oh, he's a hero. No, he's not. No, he's not. The deal, which was nearly identical to the previous offer, was that the nurses rejected, was presented to striking workers by the Massachusetts Nurses Association on Monday. So they just said, well, here, that deal that you guys rejected, we're going to offer it again. And people were furious. One of the guys was like, I can't repeat a lot of the things that they said, because the nurses union, then they all got on a Zoom call to read what the new proposal was. And this is what's, no, he added, they were devastated, angry, and insulted. The M&A did not, however, say why it brought this insulting offer back to nurses. That's what they think of you. They think you're so dumb that you'll just take this bad offer that you already turned down again. On Monday, 2,000 graduate student workers at New York University walked out on strike to demand higher wages and better health care and childcare. So now I'm going to start going into, this article goes into all the other strikes that are starting to happen, primarily with healthcare workers, but not just healthcare workers. Because everyone's like, thank you, healthcare workers. Thank you, essential workers. Well, then give them decent pay. Don't cut their benefits. I mean, in just about every single city in America, at some point, the hospital was maxed out because of COVID during one of the waves at every major city. Any city of 50,000 people or more, the hospitals were just maxed out at some point in the last year. But that's America, thank you, yay, we'll give you a pat on the back and a bumper sticker, support healthcare workers and meow, 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 meow. But we're not going to pay you what you're worth. Billionaires not being able to work didn't matter, and billionaires made record profits. But we saw what happens when a delivery truck can't deliver enough groceries. Grocery store shelves were empty in America when the pandemic first hit. Healthcare workers were maxed out. So we need more hospitals. We need more doctors and nurses. We need more healthcare professionals. Oh, but cut corners, only so that a handful of ruling elites can make more money, can extract more wealth. And they did. They've had a great year. I mean, the ruling class they've had a fantastic year. Also on Monday, steelworkers at Allegheny Technologies, Inc. on strike since March 30th overwhelmingly rejected management's demands for wage and healthcare givebacks. We take care of American workers. No, we don't. No, we don't. We don't give a shit about the American worker. Just do enough work that some billionaire can extract money from you so that a billionaire can get another private jet. That's all we give a shit about. Don't care if you die. Don't care if you get COVID. Don't care. Shut up. We'll hire somebody else. They don't care. More than 1,100 coal miners at Warrior Met Coal in Brockwood, Alabama are continuing their month-long strike after rejecting a deal brought back by the United Mine Workers by a vote of 1,006 to 45. More than 3,000 Volvo truck workers are also on strike in Virginia. ExxonMobil has threatened to lock out 650 oil workers at a Beaumont, Texas refinery to hire strike breakers if the United Steelworkers is unable to get workers to accept its contract demands by May 1st. Oh, wow. See, doesn't matter if it's a red state or a blue state. Corporate, it's the United Corporate States of America. Never forget that. The red state, blue state thing is a convenient distraction to keep Americans fighting with each other. Oh, the Republicans did that. The Democrats did this. But do you see there's no difference? In the essential, these are all essential workers. Coal miners, iron workers, healthcare workers, Texas, red state, Alabama, red state, Massachusetts, blue state. Does it, right? You see how it doesn't matter? Red state, blue state, doesn't matter. They don't give a shit about you either way. Also, May, 131,000 rural letter carriers for the U.S. Post Office and 100,000 public sector workers in New York City face contract expirations. You think Bloomberg or Blasio or Yang or any of these other, Yang tweets out, these street vendors are causing a problem. Oh, really? It's the street vendors? Gee, that's weird that Andrew Yang couldn't tweet out about how everyone down on Main Street are the real criminals of New York City. They're the real criminals of the United States. Weird that Yang, a tech another rich guy, happened to miss all of the money stolen by Wall Street and really putting the onus on somebody with a hot dog cart. Really? The hot dog cart people, they're the ones really making New York City a problem. Really, the hot dog cart? Isn't there a Trump Tower there? What did he do? Didn't Epstein have a? Yeah, Epstein had a penthouse in New York City. But it's the hot dog vendors. Got it. I know. Oh, those hot dog vendors sitting there making $80 a day selling hot dogs and sodas. Man, I'm tired of that. Tired of them taking advantage. barely getting by. Yeah, let's get rid of the street vendors. That's, oh boy. Sure, someone on Wall Street got $1 trillion in tax money as part of the CARES Act and still laid off workers. But whatever. Like Tenet Healthcare, we're about to learn. The stock market CEO pay, corporate profits, and the fortunes of the billionaires have all skyrocketed. In every case, however, the workers who have risked their lives during the pandemic, again, essential workers means they can't telecommute. You can't zoom in steelworking. You can't take coal out of a coal mine and have to work shoulder to shoulder with somebody via Skype. You can't help people who are suffering from COVID. You can't do that over the internet. But being a billionaire parasite, boy, that you can do from your home in the Hamptons. You can do that from your private yacht and just zoom in your stupid demands to your dumb board of directors on whatever whorehouse you work for. You've never worked a day in your life. I'm a self-made billionaire. No, you're not. You're a rich kid. The tax laws favored you. Somebody gave you $1 million loan like crybaby Trump got. Don't give me this build yourself up. Or you worked hard in a system that rewards white people. Like, shut up. Workers who have risked their lives. Did any billionaire risk their lives during this pandemic? Any billionaire I got to go to work today to be a billionaire. I got to risk my life. I might get COVID. I might die. There's people who I don't want to get COVID and die, but I got to go to work. We've interviewed Chris Smalls on this show, right? Who was like, it's not safe working. He was a manager at an Amazon warehouse. And he's like, it's not, he was just trying to protect himself and his fellow workers. Get more PPE, get better wages. If you're going to make us work in this, give us the equipment for starters to protect ourselves. Good luck. He got fired for not wanting to die working for Amazon. Work will set you free. That's what they put on the camps in Dachau and shit. Thanks, Jeff Bezos, pimp. They risked their lives during the pandemic, are being told there's no money to pay decent wages or ensure same conditions. So these billionaires made record profits, but boy, we can't. And this is why the ruling elites are such soulless psychopaths. You would think, so they've got no heart or soul. So who cares? I'm not going to appeal to that because they don't have it. It's like asking a rattlesnake to cuddle with you. It's never going to happen. But you would think that even just the PR boon to your business, because look, the corporate media loves stroking billionaires and doing these feel-good stories about, oh, this billionaire is so great and so warm, just for the pure, opportunistic PR boost you'd get by saying, we made record profits this year, so we're taking care of our employees. Everybody who getting a raise, everyone's getting hazard pay for the last year. We're taking care of everybody, and put that money back into the economy. And then you'd get interviews on CNN. Oh my God, they drop to their knees and jerk you off on camera for doing something like that. Fox News would wrap an American flag around you and go, this is what America's ingenuity is really about. And you could say, yeah, we did this and we're taking care of our workers because they put it all on the line to keep this country moving, during this pandemic. And so we had good profits. We're giving it all back to our workers. We're giving everybody a raise. Everyone's pensions going. You could do that. And you would still keep a majority of your billions of dollars in profit. You'd still get a nice big fat bonus. You could still buy your dumb rat kids whatever spoiled nonsense you're going to give them. They're going to grow into the next generation of soulless rich kid rats, be the next Hunter Biden, Jared Kushner, whatever, Trump, Chelsea Clinton, oligarch nightmare you're going to regurgitate out. Your kids could still have all their dumb toys, go to the Hamptons, whatever stupid private school they're at. You could still have all those dumb things and actually help. You could make people's lives better. But what's their first instinct? Just like how cops just overreact, because cops never protect and serve the working class. Police protect and serve the ruling class. Yeah. Never seen a cop put their knee on the neck of a billionaire. I'd love to see that. I'd wear a Blue Lives Matter shirt if they started doing that. They just started shooting billionaires in the back. Yeah, I'd start wearing a Blue Lives Matter shirt. But as I was saying, they could just help their employees just purely for the PR boost, and it would increase their sales, and people would go, oh, I'm going to support that company because they took care of their people. And you could go fly down to Cozumel with the Ted Cruz or wherever that soulless maggot takes his dumb family to vacation, and you could all sit there and drink Mai Tais and talk about how you're such great heroes, which I would be okay with as long as the American worker got taken care of, but you're not. You're fighting them. First instinct, nope. Cut their wages. Don't give in to demands. Nope, nope, nope. It's the first instinct. Nope. You're sitting on a bag of money. Nope. Last April, Tenet. This is the company that the story started with about the nurses union. This is the healthcare company in Massachusetts, received billions from the Bipartisan CARES Act, including more than $1 billion in stimulus funds and $1.5 billion Medicare advance. Oh, that's great. So they probably took care of their employees. Nope. They furloughed more than 11,000 workers and suspended a retirement benefit for its employees. Tenet CEO Ronald Rittenmeyer raked in $16.7 million in 2020, but can't give these nurses who put their lives on the line, just go, whatever your demands, we'll give them to you. Over $2.5 billion. They got in stimulus money, your taxpayer money, my taxpayer money, and then furloughed 11,000 people. And suspended retirement benefits for its employees. Suspended them. Can you imagine? Your company gets $2.5 billion. You're furloughed, which means you're not getting paid, or you're getting minimum, or your salary's cut in half or whatever. And then they suspend your retirement benefit? But your boss makes $16.7 million in 2020. That's what one guy made. And what do they offer the nurses? The same crappy deal they already turned down. People are why is everyone so mad in America? Gee, I can't figure it out. Can you imagine for the last year? And these are healthcare workers who have seen more death probably in a week than any of us are going to see in our lifetimes. I mean, you talk to any healthcare worker, they've seen more dead people because of COVID. And they're just like, they're just fried. They're emotionally fried. They've gone through depression, PTSD. I can only imagine what the depression and the substance abuse, and I'm sure those numbers have all gone through the roof. But this idiot gets $16.7 million. He got a raise? Let me tell you something, ruling class. You might want to give in to people's demands, because what's coming next is what happened in France during the French Revolution. That's what's coming next. I don't think you understand that. There was a growing wave of struggles by nurses and other healthcare workers who were praised as heroes. That's America. You're a hero, but we're not going to pay you for it. You just get the thanks of a grateful nation. We're going to give you a handshake and a bumper sticker and a Mylar balloon that you got to share, but we're not going to give you more weight. Like, again, any healthcare worker said, look, that year was awful, but our union's stronger, we got better retirements. We all got better hazard pay. Like, everybody, all right, okay, I'll take it. I made $16.7 million in 1 year. Oh man, if he cut his salary in half, he only would have made, what's that? $8.35 million in a year. How are you going to live off $8.35 million in 1 year? I mean, how are you going to live off that? I mean, come on. I mean, he's going to have to get food stamps on eight. I mean, that's not even $10 million. I don't know how you live on anything below $10 million. I just don't know how you do it. mean, $8 million a year. I mean, I guess he's going to have to drink his own urine. I mean, there's no way. I mean, how do you live off this? He's eating cat food we know that he's going to be eating cat food and drinking his own urine if he only has $8 million in a year. And then they're trying to get regular people to be up in arms about the capital gains tax. Believe me, unless you make $1 million or more a year, it ain't going to affect you, man. Hospital closures and Medicaid shifts took a toll on New York City's health. That's January 4th, 2017. 3 years before the pandemic. That's Cuomo, by the way. So they've been doing this for a while now. Only the difference between the non-COVID year and the COVID year, they made more money. I just want to show you this too. There's Jeff Bezos' $65 million private jet. Yeah, March 6th of 2021. $65 million private jet. But they spent money to block Amazon workers from forming unions in Alabama and other states. They fired. So this guy with his $65 million jet fired Chris Smalls. Just want you to know who these people are. The Tenet exec got $16.7 million. He probably doesn't have a jet as nice as this. Oh, I'm so sorry. That's not fair. That's not fair.
Now, why are we here? What is the issue which divides and arouses so much concern? I will take a case which may be typical. A family which may be found in any part of the United States. The husband has worked hard for his life and he is retired. He might have been a clerk or a salesman or on the road or worked in a factory, stores or whatever. He's always wanted to pay his own way. He does not ask anyone to care for him. He wants to care for himself. He has raised his own family. He has educated them. His children are now on their own. He and his wife are drawing Social Security. It may run $75, $100, $125 in the higher brackets. Let's say it's $100. And he has a pension from where he worked, the results of years of effort. Now, therefore, his basic needs are taken care of. He owns his house. He has $2,500 or $3,000 in the bank. And then his wife gets sick. And we're all going to be in a hospital, 9 out of 10 of us, before we finally pass away, and particularly when we're over 65. Now she is sick, not just for a week, but for a long time. First goes the $2,500. That's gone. Next, he mortgages his house, even though he may have some difficulty making the payments out of his Social Security. Then he goes to his children, who themselves are heavily burdened because they're paying for their house and they're paying for their sicknesses, and they want to educate their children. Then their savings begin to go. This is not a rare case. I talked to a member of the Congress from my own state a week ago who told me he was going to send his daughter away to school, but because his father had been sick for 2 years, he could not do it. And Congressman, I'll pay $22,500 a year. And that's more than most people get. So therefore now, what is he going to do? His savings are gone, his children's savings, they're contributing, though they have responsibilities of their own. And he finally goes in and signs a petition saying he's broke and needs assistance. Now, what do we say? We say that during his working years, he will contribute to Social Security as he has in the case of his retirement, $12 or $13 a month. When he becomes ill, or she becomes ill over a long period of time, he first pays $90 so that people will not abuse him. But then let's say he has a bill of $1,500. This bill is not that we're talking about Mr. Anderson's bill and Mr. King solve everything, but let's say it's $1,500, of which $1,000 are hospital bills. This bill will pay that $1,000 in hospital bill. And then I believe that he and the effort he makes in his family can meet his other responsibilities. Now, that does not seem such an extraordinary piece of legislation 25 years after Franklin Roosevelt passed the Social Security Act. This is not a campaign against doctors because doctors have joined with us. This is a campaign to help people meet their responsibilities. We do not cover doctors' bills here. We do not affect the freedom of choice. You can go to any doctor you want. The doctor and you work out your arrangements with him. We talk about his hospital bills. All these arguments were made against Social Security at the time of Franklin Roosevelt. They're made today. And then other people say, why doesn't the government mind its own business? What is the government's business is the question. This bill serves the public interest. It involves the government because it involves the public welfare. The Constitution of the United States did not make the President or the Congress powerless. It gave them definite responsibilities to advance the general welfare, and that is what we're attempting to do. And then I read that this bill will sap the individual self-reliance of Americans. I can't imagine anything worse or anything better to sap someone's self-reliance than to be sick, alone, broke, or to save for a lifetime and put it out in a week, 2 weeks, a month, 2 months. This argument that the government should stay out, that it saps our pioneer stock. I used to hear that argument when we were talking about raising the minimum wage to $1.25. The fact of the matter is, what saps anyone's self-reliance is working 60 hours at straight time, or working at 85 or 95 or $1 an hour. In England, the entire cost of medicine for people of all ages, all of it, doctors, the choice of doctors, hospitals, from the time you're born to the time you die, are included in a government program. We are now talking about doing most of the countries of Europe did years ago. The British did it 30 years ago. We are behind every country pretty nearly in Europe in this matter of medical care for our citizens. We are concerned with the progress of this country. And those who say that what we are now talking about spoils our great pioneer heritage should remember that the West was settled with two great actions by the national government. One, in President Lincoln's administration, when he gave a homestead to everyone who went west, and in 1862 he set aside government property to build our land-grant colleges. This cooperation between an alert and progressive citizenry and a progressive government is what has made this country great, and we shall continue as long as we have the opportunity to do so. This is the only way we can secure action to keep this country moving ahead, to have places to educate our children, to have decent housing, to do something about the millions of young children who leave our schools before they graduate. Every day I am reminded of how many things were left undone. 30 years ago, they provided that no drugs be put on the market which were unsafe for hogs and for cattle. We want to take the radical step of doing the same for human beings. Anyone who says that Woodrow Wilson, as great a president as he was, and Franklin Roosevelt and Harry Truman, that they did it all and we have nothing left to do now are wrong. We ask you, the citizens of this country, the responsible and thoughtful doctors, the hospital administrators, all those who face this challenge of educating our children, finding work for our older people, finding security for those who have retired, all who are committed to this great effort of moving this country forward, come and give us your help.
kind of a bummer listening to like the last president that even gave a damn. Not that JFK was perfect, but what have we had since him? Just clowns, progressively worse clowns. What a crazy idea that the idea of government is to actually further the citizens, you know, make their lives better, like what he's talking about. It's just more greed. That's all it is. JFK, that speech was in 1962, talking about free healthcare. We're not just talking about healthcare on this particular show. We're talking about healthcare workers. We're talking about essential workers. And we're talking about management, the wealthy, not wanting to help anybody out. There's no betterment of society. We're not sitting around going, how do we make society better? It's just take. COVID was a national crisis. It was a global emergency. We could have come out of it like, how do we make things better for the future? No, just get as much money as you can. People go on strike, fire them, spend money, stop them. It's just the elites are a bunch of scared little greedy rats. They don't even it's all fear-based. Like giving up a big portion of your wealth, that's a position of like, I'm not afraid I'm going to lose it all. I'm going to lose it all. We're going to lose it all. Give it away, make society better. You'll still live like a king. You'll still live like a king. So it's going to take direct action. It's going to take strikes. It's going to take boycotts. It's going to take work stoppages. It's going to take a lot of direct action because, I mean, these two corrupt parties don't care. They're bought and paid for by the ruling elites. And we got to make sure, you know, if you're in a union and you don't like the leadership or it's been corrupted, then get inside the leadership. So we'll keep talking about it on this show, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't like hearing that your party or your side is as good as you think it is, then this isn't the show for you. Go watch the corporate media and go watch the channel that tells you what you want to hear, that your party's better than the other party, but they're both bought and paid for. And leaders like JFK don't exist anymore. We don't have them. It's not the Squad. It's not Bernie. It's not Tulsi. It's not anybody in the Republican Party. It's not anybody in the Democratic Party. The leaders like JFK don't exist, and they haven't for the better part of 60 years. Thanks for watching the show, everybody. Shave your knuckles for justice. Boom. Thanks for watching, everybody. Please hit the like button, the subscribe button. Go to patreon.com/Graham Elwood and rockfin.com/Graham Elwood, where you can support the show. Also, I have a Bitcoin wallet, a Bitcoin Cash wallet, and an Ethereum wallet in the show notes. We're taking cryptocurrency. I have a Coinbase affiliation link. We're going to be getting on some other exchanges. So that's how you support the show. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. YouTube is unsubscribing us at an alarming rate. I have a PayPal button at GrahamElwood.com. I even have a Venmo at Graham-Elwood. There's a lot of ways to support our show. We are getting crushed by YouTube. We've dipped under 73,000 subscribers because of YouTube. Thanks for supporting what we do.